All right, let me tell you something, man. Most people think artists are super rich. They'll see a sold out arena and assume this artist must be making millions tonight. But the truth is, most artists, they don't make as much as you think from touring. So here's why. The promoter takes a cut. The venue takes a cut. Ticketmaster or Live Nation, they take their cut. And the label takes a cut because they're recouping their advances, or percentages, back end, splits, whatever they negotiated in their deal. And by the time the artists get their piece, it's a lot smaller than fans imagine. I mean, you add in expenses, buses, hotels, lighting, dancing, stagehands, that extra bottle that's useless, and suddenly that $200 ticket you bought might only put a few dollars in your favorite artist's pocket. Well, unfortunately, that's the current state of music today. Now, here's why I'm making this video, and here's where Chris Brown flipped the entire script. He's changing the game. He looked at the broken system and said, I'm not waiting on streaming checks. I'm not waiting on label advances. I'm gonna create my own play. I'm gonna sell direct access to my customer base, and I'm gonna charge what I feel I'm worth. Shouts out to Chris Brown. And that's how the $1,000 meet and greet was born.
Bro, you changed the meet and greet.
The Chris Brown meet and greet is out of control.
You might need a bench press or
it's
something in there.
Disrespectful.
That shit fun.
Like, I bet it is.
It's fun because look, where else in the time, like, everybody usually, like, you get your pictures back in the day, the artist like,
Yeah.
you know, like, don't touch me.
Same,
Get your, like, and I'm not doing like 150 people a night. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it might be a small, intimate group of people that actually spent that money that they might not even had to come and meet me. So I'm not gonna make they moment. You know, I don't want to make their moment just some, hey, what's up? Let me sign this, get the fuck out. Like, that's weak to me because I feel like these are the same people, no matter how big of that group or smaller that group, I feel like they're the same people that's a part of the family aspect.
Yeah.
So and some of these girls, that's their bucket list. Some of them, they like, look, all I want to do is just be able to be on him. Cool. Long as you ain't got COVID, we good.
This isn't just business. This is actually a cultural phenomenon. Chris Brown is chasing Michael Jackson status.
I don't think people understand how big Michael Jackson was. I don't think they understand it because they weren't alive when it was happening.
Yeah, it's hard to convict. So when you talk to young people now, you're like, there'll never be anyone that big, and they're like, yeah, but Taylor Swift, but Beyonce was like, no.
They're all huge. They're huge, but they're huge today. They're huge today in the era of social media, in the era of, it's just a different world of sharing from streaming platforms.
So Mike created hysteria with the crowds. I mean, people falling out, crying because they want to get close to him. But Chris is actually creating a modern day flex, modern day hysteria. $1,000 photo? Fans are proudly showing off these pictures as proof that I was connected to your favorite artists. But there's numbers behind this play. So let's break this thing down. At each show, there's about 100 to 200 fans that are let into Chris Brown's meet and greet. They do that on purpose, and you'll see why through this video. But let's split it down the middle. Let's just say 150 people. Each person pays $1,000. That's an extra $150,000 extra per city on top of the tickets. So an extra, because of an idea, an extra $150,000 cash, direct to consumer sales to Chris. Now, let's break that out into 30 cities, like a 30 city tour or 30 nights. That's an extra $4.5 million of pure profit from photos. Not music, not streams, photos. Here's the key. These aren't through Ticketmaster either or Live Nation. They're sold through his personal website, which means there's no label cut and there's no middleman. Direct to Chris and his team. That is what you call direct to consumer. It's beautiful. Y'all think Chris Brown is an entertainer. He's an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, you gotta think about Shopify versus Amazon, right? So one, when you buy something on Amazon or you sell something on Amazon, Amazon takes their cut. Shopify, it's just a processing fee, but Shopify, that's direct to you. So you get to own your customer, own the data. That's the power of what Chris has actually tapped into. Now, what I want to break out is whether you're a fan of Chris Brown, whether you're a fan of, whatever his past was, I'm just here to talk about the multiplier and how brilliant this idea is. So I'm going to talk about the merch multiplier first in the viral psychology. Here's where it's genius. Here's the genius multiplier. When you drop $1,000 on a photo, you don't just pay the $1,000. You want that night to be absolutely unforgettable. So Chris actually has merch, right? Every artist, every touring company, artist, whatever, they have merch. Every single one of these 150 people that do the meet and greet, they're going to buy a hoodie. So let's say they spend $100 on merch average. That's an extra $15,000 per night per city. Over 30 shows, that's another $450,000. That's almost $500,000 from merch. And I'm not talking about all the other people that's buying merch. I'm simply saying because he decided to do the meet and greet, this small group of people are actually going to buy merch, guaranteed, for sure. Here's the psychology. Merch isn't just fabric. They're buying the merch because of the story. When you wear that hoodie the next day after the Chris Brown concert, people are asking, yo, you went to the Chris Brown concert. Well, what that does is that person can't wait to respond. They like, yeah, but check out this picture we took. Let me tell you all about this night. I'm gonna get my $1,000 worth. The hoodie isn't just fabric. It's actually triggering a story. It's triggering storytelling. It's a walking billboard that extends the experience beyond the show. And that's why the meet and greet fans are almost guaranteed to buy merch. This is so brilliant. But outside of that, the merch itself, we're still just talking about, I'm not talking about the $4.5 million that he's gonna make from the meet and greet itself. We're simply talking about merch. But think about this merch bump. There are expenses with a tour, right? Touring is expensive. I think everybody knows that. You got crew, you got buses, you got managers, stagehand, lighting, production, all that stuff, right? But watch how this one play covers it all. So a tour manager might make $2,500 to $4,000 a week, right, for the show. Well, a 16-week tour means you're paying that manager $40,000 to $65,000 total. A tour bus with the driver, about $1,500 to $2,000 a day. Well, over 100 days, that's about $150,000 to $200,000, right, for the bus driver and the bus. Lighting, stage crew, about $1,500 to $2,500 a week each, multiplied by, let's just say, a 10-person crew. You're looking at $250,000 to $300,000 total. Now, if we add all that up, you're looking at, $400,000 to $500,000 range for the major tour expenses. Now, there are other expenses, but I'm just talking about these major tour expenses. Remember, the merch bump, I'm talking about from the people who take a picture with Chris that are guaranteed to spend at least $100, that extra is another $450,000 from meet and greet fans that bought merch. The fact that I'm doing this meet and greet creates another source of revenue that allows me to pay the major expenses. Oh my gosh. The photo is covering the profit. The merch is covering the crew. The ticket, sponsorship, streams, we haven't even talked about that. Chris is literally building a play within a play that funds the backing of the tour just from 1.5% of the audience. Let's just say the venue was 10,000 people in the audience. You only get 150 people, that's 1.5%. Now, let's compare this to, let's say, other artists in the space like Justin Bieber. He charges like between $900 and $2,000 for the meet and greet. That's good money, but none of it ever went viral. Fans got a handshake and a picture, but it didn't spill into viral culture. Chris Brown, bend over. Ariana Grande or Nicki Minaj, right? They might charge $400 to $800 for a meet and greet. It's very affordable, but it felt like a VIP upsell and not a movement. It It doesn't feel like a moment in history. Taylor Swift doesn't do meet and greets at all typically. She might give away a part of, she might do something for a fan club, but it builds loyalty, but it's no revenue stream because she doesn't do that. A lot of K-pop artists like BTS, so their fans pay hundreds just for like a 2-second handshake. But Chris tells you to bend over and you're going to post it and you're going to be so proud of it and you're going to get a real moment out of this. Drake might charge $500 to $1,500 for an after party, a club section after party where you just get to have some sort of proximity. He's charging you $500 to $1,500 so that you can spend extra money on bottles so that you can see him when he walks by you. But you don't even get a picture. You just get proximity. Chris is proof that he's creating an asset that generates revenue and it lives forever in the brains of his audience. But here's another angle. Merch itself hasn't broke records in music. With Travis Scott, for instance, he made about $1 million in merch in under an hour at a pop-up, right? Kanye West pulled $1.5 million in merch one night during Pablo. Go look it up, right? Taylor Swift's era, the tour, the lines wrapped around the stadium. Some fans spent more on merch than they did the tickets. So what Chris Brown is doing is plugging into the same trend. He's not chasing music numbers. He's chasing those record-breaking numbers. But the artists I just named, they had the whole play around merch. I only talked about the merch sales from the limited people who wanted a picture. So the other 10,000 people in the venue, those people buying merch too. I just haven't even talked about those numbers. Chris is doing something truly groundbreaking. And I hope people see this. So here's another big question. Does it get watered down? So if too many people have the same photo, does it lose value? I mean, I would say not really. Because the flex isn't that it was free. The flex is I can afford a $1,000 picture. Some people are fans of the price point because it's not about the picture. It's proving that I had $1,000 to be here. That's no different than wearing a limited sneaker or carrying a designer handbag. Everybody knows you paid for it, which is why you buy it. But that's what makes it a status symbol. So the price point and the limited amount of people that can actually get it. And Chris Brown's meet and greets sell out every tour. And because Chris limits the spots, maybe 150 people or 200 max per night, it keeps it exclusive. It's so exclusive that he makes millions. But it's scarce, enough to feel elite. All right, so let's take the music out of it and let's talk about you. Because the real question is, what can entrepreneurs in this day and age that are watching this video learn from this? Here's the 6 lessons and some real world case studies to back them up, all right? So number 1 lesson that I'm learning from this is you have to create premium tiers. So yes, Chris sells a $200 ticket for the general crowd and a $1,000 VIP experience for the top 1%. So here's the lesson for you and how you can implement it. Maybe we have a free or low ticket free ebook, which leads to a $19 workshop, which leads to a $47 course, which is kind of like a lead magnet. That's low tier. But you might have a mid tier with $200 to $1,500 group of coaching, membership or live event, something like that. And then a high ticket, so $1,000 to $10,000 mastermind retreat, private coaching. You're not looking for everybody to buy this, right? But let's look at Apple. So they have the iPhone, then they got the iPhone Pro, then they got the iPhone Pro Max. Customers self-select their tiers, and that's how Apple extracts more revenue from its top users. I always buy the best iPhone. There might be some people that always buy the lower ticket iPhone, but they allow us to create our own experience. Tony Robbins, let's say, $20 book, entry to the seminar, hundreds, then $10,000 to $25,000 mastermind. Same ladder that Chris uses It's just personal development. And most coaches do that. Tony Robbins, a bunch of people, right? The lesson is don't stop at one product. You got to build an ascension model that lets your best customers climb higher. Here's number 2 point. You got to cut out the middleman. So Chris sold the meet and greets on a separate website. No Ticketmaster, no Live Nation, no label. What does that mean for you? We need to start owning our customers' data. All right, so here's my next point. You got to turn your products into an experience. So Chris didn't just sell pictures. He styled it like a photo shoot moment. He intentionally said, let me do something that allows people to feel connected, something they'll never, ever forget. So what about entrepreneurs? How can we do this? Well, a t-shirt brand can host parties where buyers get style photos. I remember when I was building my Sleep is for Suckers t-shirt brand, what we did was these photo shoot parties. And I told people, hey, you need new pictures. You need new photo shoots so that you can put your flyers together, things of that nature. Well, the story that I sold was the fact that you can come have an experience where you're building your brand with this photo shoot party. I would pay 4 or 5 photographers $200 for the night, and I'd sell tickets. So I'd make money on the front end, but it was the experience of, I'm coming to build my brand. I'm going to take some pictures. I would get like a Ciroc sponsor or something like that. And it was a vibe. And that's actually how I built my brand. So a coffee shop can design Instagrammable spaces inside the coffee shop, or a course creator can add live Q&A sessions where there's an experience, not just selling the product. So think about Starbucks. Coffee shops existed before Starbucks. So Starbucks created an experience where, we create an environment where you can come chill, get your work done. This is a chill environment where you can chill. It's not here, get your coffee and you leave. There's an actual experience attached to what Starbucks does, right? So they write your name on a cup. That's part of experience. So you need to learn storytelling, style, shareable moments that make your offer not just a good offer, but makes it worth bragging about. Which brings me to my next point. You have to make your customers your marketers. Every single photo Chris takes, free advertisement. So what about entrepreneurs? We need to create certain hashtags around the brand, or designing it so that the person feels like whatever this is says something to me. So in our morning meetup, which you should be a part of, themorningmeetup.com, we've created an experience that allows people to get their voices heard and allows them to share their wins. So when they're telling other people, they have stories about things that they were directly involved in the community. So it's not about, I come here and I listen to David every day and I listen to No. I connected with somebody. And the whole focus of the morning meetup is creating an experience that makes other people want to invite their friends into the community. So we have to incentivize users to generate this content. And that's why we do, I think it's like 40 or 50% affiliate in the morning meetup, because there's an incentive to share why you need to be a part of this. We're trying to incentivize our customers. So you need to figure out how you can incentivize your customers to do something in promotion that doesn't feel like it's promoting you and your company and your product, but it feels like they're promoting themselves. You got to build offers that people want to share. So something that we did that was super unique for this past podcast summit, I knew I was going to spend a couple $100,000 in ads. So what I did was I told our audience, hey, you should create an ad. I'm putting hundreds of thousands of dollars behind these ads. So what I'll do is, if you create a commercial or some sort of advertisement for Podcast Summit, we will take the good ones and we will run an ad behind it, meaning there's going to be thousands of people that see your face talking about Podcast Summit. So it's a win-win. It's a win because when someone sees the ad, it's like, oh, wow, it's not just David talking about Podcast Summit. It's your average person saying, this is why I'm coming to Podcast Summit. But it's a win for them because they get their face all over the internet. And all the people that we ran ads for, they was like, oh my gosh, bro, people in my city, people in my community, they're like, yo, I saw you in an ad. And it makes them feel good about it. So this is why it's super important to create some sort of element of your business or brand that people are excited to share. So just take this note. Your best advertising is when customers brag about your product, not when you create an advertisement, okay? Another point, leverage and scarcity status. So Chris actually capped the slots at 150 per night. Scarcity drives demand. What if everybody could buy it? Well, it doesn't make it that valuable anymore. If anybody can get it, it doesn't make it that valuable. That's why they limit the Jordans, the exclusive shoes that come out. There's a limit because if everybody can get it, it's not that valuable. You got to limit spots in your mastermind, or if there's an exclusive release or you're dropping a product, make small batches, run timed challenges, right? So not everybody can have access to it. That's the value. So Supreme, the clothing brand, their drops sell out in minutes. Why? Because people know, the fans of that brand know that this won't last long, and scarcity creates demand. The Tesla Cybertruck. The wait list became a flex. I saw people sharing the fact that they're on the wait list. Just having a pre-order was a status. So scarcity plus status equals pricing power. Scarcity plus status allows you to raise the rates. So you also, another point, you need to stack revenue streams. So here's Chris's stack. There's Chris Brown's stack. Tickets, meet and greets, merch, sponsorships. Not including after club expense, they'll set up a bunch of after parties around the city and Chris makes his way. Oh, I'm gonna pick up this bag. And it's not even, I don't know if it's money for him, but it's more experiences, more people saying, oh my gosh, Chris Brown is here. So how do we do it if we're not Chris Brown and we're just entrepreneurs? Well, on the front end, free ebooks, $20 products. We talked about it, mid-tier, $200 to $500 memberships, back end, 5K mastermind, 10K mastermind. There's a ladder here. So on a high scale, Disney, they got the theme parks, they got merch, they got licensing, they got streaming, they got toys. Each stream enforces the other. It's actually, I don't think Chris is getting the just due of his brilliance. So you can't rely on just one product. You got to build a stack. So one stream covers expenses, another drives profit, another one builds legacy, another one builds connectivity. The stream should all make sense. So in conclusion, Chris Brown turned a $1,000 picture into a cultural movement. So much so, and here's how you know you got something special, when there's two sides that fight about it. Well, one says, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And then another says, $1,000 for a picture. Is he crazy? He's taking advantage. That's how you know you got something special. My man created a $4.5 million play in pure profit, added another $500,000 that covers the crew and expenses, sparked free viral marketing, which, by the way, sells out more tickets to the venue, and positioned himself closer to Michael Jackson status in today's world. Here's the point. This isn't about music anymore. This is about entrepreneurship. Because if Chris can monetize 1.5% of his fans to cover the whole show, what can you do with your top 1 to 2% of customers? The blueprint is right here. He's creating a blueprint for you. Premium tiers, no middleman, scarcity, products as experiences, customers as marketers. Like, there's so many gems in what we talked about. Scarcity creates status and opportunity, stack revenue streams. This is how Chris has built a multi-million-dollar play and is becoming legendary. And that's how you can do it too. So hopefully you guys got some value from this. Let me know in the chat, man. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And we'll